Hi everyone, Angus Campbell here. It's Monday the 8th of July 2024. Right, hot on the heels of the weekend shenanigans at Mallory Park and a local vehicle meet. Then let's get back onto the Bonneville because we've got some momentum going here now, and assembly can move along pretty quickly, carrying on with the centre section here. And then we'll get into the both sides of the engine, inlet and exhaust. So firstly, we'll start buttoning up this lot a bit more. I've only got these inner plenum chambers loosely in at the moment, but we need to tighten those up. We need to get the rear panels on, which are around the other side here. Let me show you the rear side panels effectively, which are those. And also, what I want to mention as well is that, where are we? Oh, it's the other side. So on the inside of the inner plenum chamber, as you can see, that hole just there, that's the mounting point for the Zener diode. So we need to get that on there before we start putting too much more in here. But really, this space is just for the battery. So somewhere we should have a mat for it to go in there, and also we need to get a strap. We might have to order a new strap. I can't remember, but we'll have a look through all the parts we took off. But anyway, let's get this lot buttoned up, and maybe the air filters in as well, and then it'll look a bit more wholesome. Right, let's crack on. First thing, sorry, is I'm going to just get the pipe on for the hydraulic fluid to go down from the reservoir to the rear master cylinder before we button everything up, because otherwise that might be a bit difficult. Right, another botch found. Still finding them. So sorting out the, well, I suppose they're officially set screws, UNF set screws, to mount the rear side panel onto the plenum chamber. And I was struggling to get the thread on this one to begin, and I thought it just doesn't feel like the right thread, and then this insert popped out, which somebody's obviously decided to press in with a different thread after probably drilling that out. I don't know, unless that's standard. But certainly you wouldn't expect it to pop out just like that. So what we'll have to do on this one here, which isn't a problem, is we'll put a nut on the other side, nut and washer. Because these panels come off with the outer cover of the plenum chamber for the filter anyway. They're one unit, so shouldn't be a problem. And while I'm here, just to show you that the other side of this, that just sits onto a rubber grommet, which I've made up here with a bit of a shoulder as well, which is how it's supposed to be. So we should be able to get that on here now. These are the two mounting points here for the rear panel. So the bolts come in from this side and should screw into the rear panel here. Ooh, yeah, that might be a bit of a pain getting a nut and washer behind there. Might have to take this off. Anyway, we'll do it. Well, that didn't go too bad. So I managed to get the back on, the back cover on quite easily. Don't know whether you can see. Where are we? Yeah, you can. There we go. Had to put a nut on the back there, but other than that, it's okay. And what you can see here as well is just there is the captive nut that's on the back of this bolt here that holds on the air filter cover. Now this was a bit rough. It's plastic, and it's led a rough life. It's not too bad, we'll give it a bit more of a polish and it'll come up okay, I think. Good enough. And there's a new filter in there which I forgot to film, but here's the one from the other side. Not quite the same as the originals, but the good news is they've got a guiding hole on this plate in the centre which the original ones didn't have, which makes it easier. And because of a pillar on the inside of this plate, they can only go that way around with a plate at the back, and then that hole can either go at the top or the bottom, but I decided to put it at the top, i.e. well away from, hopefully a bit further away from all the muck from the rear wheel, because that's your inlet there, and it then goes through the filter itself to the outlet here, so that sits in there like that. Other quick thing to mention, and you probably saw it on there, is the Zener diode's mounted, but it's only loosely because we've got to actually put an earth on that when I put the wiring in, so we will probably have to take all this lot apart on this side, but it's useful for a first fitting anyway. And then ultimately all this is nicely covered over by an outer cover, which when the oiling frames were first designed and built they didn't have. They had this back cover and they had a metal cover here, alley outer cover to go with the inner cover on the sort of plenum, if you like. But then Meriden changed it and decided to put an outer cover on all of this, and we've been lucky enough to find a little while ago 2 new old stock Jubilee Bonneville covers, and we've got the badges to put on there in good nick, but the original covers were split, cracked and God knows what. And these simply, if I can do this with one hand, they're only held on by springs and divine guidance. So you can see there's this massive lip at the back here with a cutout for where we've got the mounting for this rear panel. So it basically wraps around this tube. So put it at right angles, spin around like so, and she's on, and then at the front she'll be held on by springs, which were missing. And they'll pull that in a bit more like so. And there you have it. Now we're cooking. So I'll do the same on the other side, exactly the same, the other way around, and then we'll think about putting the carbs and the small inlet tract on. Brand new carbs. Need to check the setup, but all good. Oh, I forgot to mention the, let's just take this off again. Oh, without damaging it. There we go, spin her around. Now, let's get her over there. Right, quick last thing to mention. The rear brake master cylinder reservoir. Right, I've got the new reservoir on, and we've got it plumbed in, so this pipe runs down the back here, over here and around here. I've strapped this to here, and we've got new clips. Now when I looked inside the new chamber, it didn't have no, then where's it gone? I was going to say it didn't have the sort of rubber cover that goes over the fluid. What the hell have I done with that? Oh, I know why. Now somewhere here is the old one, because I haven't thrown that. We're keeping that. Oh, I know where to put it. Here we are. I've kept the old one, and there it is. We need that. Now that didn't come with the new old stock one. Makes you wonder whether it's new old stock. So that needs to go in there and needs cleaning up a little bit. And That lid came with the new old stock one, so it's an earlier or later one. It's not the same. This is the original one with this white lettering on it. Now, it's a bit bashed around a bit, but I'm gonna put that one on for originality's sake, because I think it. I mean, you've got an air hole in the centre of it anyway, but although it's scratched quite badly on the outer a little bit, I don't think it's penetrated, so we'll use that one. And the other thing I had to do was take this off and remount it with an extra washer. Now you might be able to see it. There we go. So in its mounting point just there, I've put a washer this side here just to move this that way, because otherwise this was catching on the plates, etc., and you couldn't actually get it off. And you can see it's quite slightly tilted that way anyway, but it's fine now, so that's good. I can always remember that on my T160 actually. It was a bloody pain to get these undone because they were too tight up against the plates and getting squashed. Right, I think that's it. So that's that side done. I'm going to do exactly the same on the other side, so I'll come back when that's done, and say then we'll properly break out the shiny new carbs. I say we got these from Surrey Cycles, and they've been jetted up, etc., to spec as per Amel stroke Triumph. There we go. So we'll check those out. I asked for the double banjos. He didn't have 150s, he's got 180s. So we can run both carbs on each tap individually if we need be. But there we go, Premier 1.5s, 930s, 30mm. And we'll check the specs out before we put them on. Okay. Right, as I say, I'll get the other side on, come back, then we'll do the carbs, then we'll get front exhaust pipes on, I think. Right, 2.5 hours later, got quite a lot done. So where shall we start? You'll notice the wiring harness here, and that's the reason for that. So, because I needed to put the earth strap onto the back of the Zeno, which you can just see down there, then I decided to start putting the wiring harness on at this end, so I could button that Zeno up, and then I could get this side all finished and tightened up. At the same time doing that, you've got to put the carb on so you can get the rubber on. So this is the new carb. There's the mini inlet manifold. We did get a couple of Bakelite gaskets, spacers, to insulate the carbs from the heat a little. And at this joint here, there's obviously a new O-ring in there with a bit of a finger of silicone that I always use. So what you have here is you have a stud all the way through with, if you like, a shoulder on it here to hold the little inlet manifold on, and then the stud continues out so you can then screw the carb on. So that's good, that's that side done. Now this wiring harness, these are allegedly, you know, made again by Lucas, brand name, etc., but you know, you get rubbish like this and they're not flexible. So what I had to do, just test fitting a few things. You know, with the rectifier there, I had to turn it round because of these bloody insulators are not flexible. So you don't have enough space. It's absolute rubbish. The spacing there between the two connectors for each coil isn't long enough. Same on the other side. Where are we next? If I can find it, here we go. That's for the flasher unit, which lives on that side, but it's on the same bit of the harness that goes down to the rear brake light switch, which is on this side, and they've put them on the same side, so we'll have to do some extenders for that. I'm gonna have to do bits and pieces all over the place like that, but I'm used to doing it. That's for the alternator. I mean, see, the wiring, the colouring's the same. We've got the two terminals here. That's negative side of the battery. Somewhere in here, we've got, it's over here, positive side. So it's all there, but it's just, you know, ill-fitting. Anyway, we've started getting it on, which we needed to do. I've got the earth strap onto the motor. We go up to the front end, and then you've got all the stuff that goes into the headlight, and this here halfway down is for the horn, which will go on the other side because the horn lives under here. So that's right. And then this is oil pressure warning light switch, so that's all right. So we'll get there with it, and it is you know, a material loom, so it looks okay. But you've just got to be careful with some of these connectors as well, because they're not that well installed, and all the spades are loose, so you have to tighten them up. Right, anything else to mention while we're at it? Oh yes, right. With respect to the inner plenums, if I can get around there, you mustn't forget the two little fixing screws and nuts there and at the top, and also you have to keep both sides loose here on its mounting, so you can line this lot up the front and get those in first, and line up the back as well. So do it all as a loose fitting first, get those in first, and then tighten up, and it's all worked out okay, so that's good. Now the other quick thing to mention is I was having trouble on this side because of the tube breather, you know, the effectively the oil spine breather. This is the one that was on it. It's as hard as nails. It's obviously been squashed at some time, ill-fitting. And also what was happening is it had been fed down the back there, and so it was fouling on this mounting, and this wouldn't fit properly. So I thought, right, rip that out, and I've got a new piece, a longer piece, to come out here and go a bit further back down the back there. You can see it here, plenty of room, and then it fits actually onto there. So we'll cut that, fit that on there, and that's tidied that up. Of course, all this will be tidied up and straightened up once we've there you go, straightened up once we've got it installed. So good progress. So next thing, we'll get this cut and on its little pipe there. We can then put the air filter and its cover on here, and then we'll get the side panels on. Oh, sorry, this carb side panel. And then there's one thing I forgot to mention is I said that the side panel cover, the silver one, you know, just wraps around the tube at the back here, and then it's held on by springs at the front. It's not actually, it's got another mounting point, which I believe is a captive nut that goes in here, and then there's like a big crosshead that goes through the side panel. And these are they, and these are correct, these crossheads, but I need the captive nut. That's what came on one of them, which is absolute rubbish. But I don't think we've got the captive nuts that go in the panel here, because there's no way you can get at them to hold them really. So we'll have a think about that and order that up. It should be in a few days, so not too bad. Right, let's get the other side into the same state as this side, and then maybe we'll do a little test fit of the outer side panels and get the badges on, and then she'll begin to look like a bike, and then we can go on to the exhaust, and then we can go on to the back light and stuff, and then we can carry on wiring. Okay, plan. Right, more on here. So what I told you before about having Phillips screw to assist with fixing the side panel. Well, it doesn't go into there at all. It's absolute bloody rubbish. It lines up with this, and so what I've forgotten, that is correct, that pillar nut, because here then should be a stud. Pillar nut screws on the stud and tightens up the air filter cover, and then this can screw in with a flat washer through that hole there. So let me undo both sides, try and find the stud that fits. Of course, oh no, hang on a minute, it's the bolt goes on the other way around. That's right. So I've used the right bolts, but they need to be the other way around. That's it. Right, bear with me. That's better. Now we've got something for that to go into from the side panel, so we'll clean that up. And we've got to mount the side panel now. I mean, these plastic covers, they distort terribly, so you mustn't over tighten them here, but the fit is bloody awful. I mean, that really should be a bit flusher than that, because that's your clean air side after it's gone through the filter. At least we'll have the outer cover on it as well, I suppose. Other thing I've noticed is, look at that seat hinge, just about touching. There's something wrong there. That's bent, because that's on its pin there. That can't move. You can see I've already caught it trying to put it on. There's no way a hinge is going to get on there. Hey ho. Anyway, let's get the side panel on, just to, you know, get a view. Now we're cooking. That's better. Right, okay, I'm going to do the same the other side, obviously, just to turn that bolt around on the to secure the air filter cover, and then we'll be able to get the side panel on in a similar manner, and we'll declare the midrift completed. Right, we'll leave it there for now. Try and keep these relatively short and ramble free, although I'm pretty bad at that. And when we come back next time, as you can see, I couldn't help but put an exhaust pipe on, but we'll what we can do is exhaust, hangers on the back, we've got the chain to do, chain guard, and we'll sort of work backwards then, finish the back end off, and then we'll go back to the front, sort the wiring harness off, and we've got the handlebars, brake lines, etc. to do on the front, so backwards and forwards. But anyway, hope Greg thinks she looks good. I think she does. Bit of tidying up to do with respect to some bolt heads and things like that, but generally pretty good. And we, anyway, in the right direction. Right, that's it. No more rambling on. Thanks very much for watching, everybody. Thanks for your interest. Thanks for any comments and subscriptions, and I'll see you all again soon in the next episode.